This is a technique I developed because a lot of the time I hear people say, I've noticed that, or I've heard that conversation and that was interesting, or I read something in the paper, or I saw something on the news. And it's a way to allow us to be able to turn those observations into ideas. They are the creative starters, the kind of the gunpowder that gets you to make that idea happen. And this technique called fish allows you literally to be able to fish for ideas. This is one of my favourite techniques, and we used it with a bunch of program makers to help them to come up with ideas for male-skewed programming. And what we did is we did a piece of work which is called Ethnography, where you send people out to spend time with their audience group. So in this case, we all went out and spent a whole evening and a night with a bunch of lads. And we came back with some observations, and there were things around things like they would close their eyes and dare themselves for as long as possible to do that on motorways. They would switch their lights off on country roads in the dark. And we thought, well, these are really interesting observations, so how can we turn those into the creative hooks we need to come up with ideas? So the technique is something like this. So firstly, we start off with first the insight. And the insight is closing eyes on motorways, shock horror, and switching lights off on country roads. Then the next stage is S, which is what's the story? So what's the story behind that? And what we realised was, when we talked about it as a group, was that guys really felt that their lives were really kind of cosseted, that they were living a cotton wool life, that they weren't able to take risks, to feel the thrills of life. So we realised that the actual story, why this was important, so the question to ask is, why is this important? Is because men crave kind of risk-taking and thrills, which is a wonderful insight actually at that point in time. And finally, we need to come to the hook. The hook is how you word that story to make it so that the ideas just flow. And the way we reworded it was how to give men a roller coaster ride on TV. And it actually led to the relaunch of Top Gear, SASE Tough Enough, and lots of other kind of male-skewed, high-octane shows.